She kept the baby he demanded she abort. He was a high-powered CEO who chose his company over his family, uttering those cruel words that shattered her world. Don't have it. 8 months later, fate throws them together in a grocery store aisle where his eyes fall upon her very pregnant belly, and nothing will ever be the same. Can a man who once chose ambition over love earn back trust through quiet acts of patience, or will the wounds of betrayal prove too deep to heal? When second chances collide with broken promises, the most beautiful love stories often rise from the ashes of heartbreak. Subscribe and share your thoughts below if you've ever believed someone deserved a second chance after breaking your heart. Maya Brooks reached for the box of chamomile tea on the top shelf of the grocery store aisle. Her fingers stretched but fell just short. She sighed, one hand resting on her rounded belly, now 8 months along. The little one inside gave a gentle kick, as if offering encouragement. "Almost there, baby," she whispered. She tried again, rising slightly on her toes. The dizzy spell made her pause, steadying herself against the shelf. Pregnancy had turned simple tasks into small adventures. "Let me help you with that." The voice froze her in place, deep, familiar, and absolutely the last one she expected to hear in the Harbour Mart on a Tuesday afternoon. Maya didn't need to turn around to know who it was. Ethan Vale, her ex-husband. She took a slow breath before facing him. His tall frame stood a few feet away, blue eyes wide with shock as they traveled from her face down to her very pregnant belly. The box of tea dangled forgotten in his hand. "Maya," his voice cracked. "Hello, Ethan." Her tone was cool, distant. She'd practiced this moment in her mind 100 times, though she'd never expected it to happen in the tea aisle. His face had gone pale. You're pregnant." Maya nodded once, her hand instinctively moving to protect her belly. "I am." Ethan opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. The polished CEO, always ready with the right words, was speechless. "Good, is it?" he started. "Maya, dear. How lovely to see you." Mrs. Evelyn Avery appeared at the end of the aisle, her silver hair neatly pinned back, her smile warm. Maya had never been so grateful for an interruption. "Mrs. Avery," Maya smiled, genuine relief washing over her. "How are you?" "Oh, just picking up a few things." "And how's that little one treating you today?" Mrs. Avery's eyes flicked to Ethan, curious but not prying. "Active as ever," Maya answered, accepting the tea box Ethan silently held out to her. "Thank you," she said, not meeting his eyes. Mrs. Avery glanced between them, sensing the tension. "Well, I should get going. Maya, remember what I said about those warm foot soaks? Works wonders for the swelling." "I will," Maya promised. Mrs. Avery patted her arm and continued down the aisle, leaving them in uncomfortable silence. "Maya, I got to," Ethan began. "I need to finish shopping." Maya cut him off, dropping the tea into her cart. "Take care, Ethan." She turned and walked away, her heart pounding but her step steady. She could feel his eyes on her back all the way to the checkout line. In the parking lot, twilight painted everything in soft blues and purples. Maya loaded her groceries into the trunk of her small sedan, movements careful and deliberate. A shadow fell across the pavement beside her. "Maya, please. Just 1 minute." She closed her eyes briefly before turning to face Ethan. He stood a respectful distance away, hands in the pockets of his expensive coat. "What do you want, Ethan?" The words came out more tired than angry. I don't know." His honesty surprised her. "I wasn't prepared to see you. And definitely not." His eyes dropped to her belly again. "Life is full of surprises." Maya closed her trunk with a soft thud. "Can we talk?" "Not now, maybe, but soon." Something in his voice had changed. The confident, sometimes arrogant man she had married sounded uncertain. Maya studied his face in the fading light. The man who had coldly told her "don't have it" when she'd first suspected she was pregnant. The man who had made her feel so small. "I'm safe now," she said finally. "That's what matters." She got into her car without looking back, driving away as Ethan stood motionless in the parking lot, watching her tail lights disappear into the evening. 10 minutes later, Ethan sat in his Tesla, knuckles white on the steering wheel. His breathing came fast and shallow. "She's pregnant," he whispered to the empty car. "She's pregnant with my child." His phone rang and he answered it on autopilot. "Ethan? Hello? Are you there?" His sister's voice snapped him back. "Lena," his voice broke. "I just saw Maya." A pause. "Oh, how did that go?" "She's pregnant, Lena. 8 months, maybe." She kept the baby. The baby I told her not to have. The silence on the other end stretched out. Lena? I'm here, his sister finally said. What are you going to do? Ethan ran a hand through his dark hair. I don't know. What can I do? She barely looked at me. Listen to me, Lena's voice grew firm. No PR moves. No grand gestures. Ask for a conversation. And if she gives you that much, just listen. Ethan nodded, though his sister couldn't see him. You're right, he started the car. I think I know where she might go. The Boardwalk Cafe glowed golden in the early evening. Through the window, Ethan spotted Maya at a corner table, warming her hands on a mug. He took a deep breath and walked in. The bell above the door jingled. Maya looked up, her expression shuddering when she saw him. Ethan approached slowly, as if nearing a deer that might bolt. May I join you? Just for a minute? Maya gestured to the empty chair across from her. 1 minute, he sat down, acutely aware of how different this was from their usual meetings in the past. At upscale restaurants, charity events, the kinds of places where his status as CEO of Vale Tech opened all doors. I'd like to ask for a conversation, he said carefully. A proper one. To set boundaries, at least. Maya studied him over her mug. Why? Because that's my child too, he said softly, then immediately regretted his words when her eyes hardened. Is it? You made it very clear you didn't want this baby, Ethan. He flinched. I know. I was wrong. Something shifted in her expression, surprise maybe. Wrong doesn't begin to cover it. I know that too. He paused. Maya, I'm not asking to jump back into your life. I'm asking for a chance to talk. That's all. She set her mug down. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. here. 30 minutes maximum. Relief flooded through him. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Maya stood, gathering her purse. This is just to set ground rules. He nodded. I understand. She walked to the doorway, then paused. 10 o'clock. Don't be late. Ethan watched her leave without looking back. The next morning, Maya arrived at the cafe at exactly 10. Ethan was already there, sitting in a small booth by the window. 2 cups steamed on the table. I ordered your favorite, he said as she sat down. Decaf vanilla latte. Maya pushed the cup aside. I don't drink that anymore. Caffeine isn't good for the baby. Even decaf has some. I drink herbal tea now. Ethan's face fell. I'm sorry, I didn't know. That's the point, Ethan. You don't know anything about my life anymore. He nodded, chastened. You're right. What would you like instead? Nothing. I already had breakfast. Maya folded her hands on the table. Let's set those boundaries. Ethan waited, pen and small notebook ready. First, no control, none. You lost that right when you walked away. He wrote it down without argument. Second, no money offers. I don't want your money, but I could help. No. Her voice was firm. I've been managing on my own for 8 months. I have savings, I have insurance through the school where I work. I'm fine. Ethan looked like he wanted to argue, but nodded instead. Okay, third, no publicity. I don't want to be gossip fodder for your tech world friends or the business press. Absolutely not, he agreed quickly. And last, honesty only. No promises you can't keep. No grand gestures that fade away when they get inconvenient. Ethan finished writing and looked up. Is that all? Maya's eyes met his. Words later. Presents first. What does that mean? It means I don't trust your words anymore, Ethan. Actions matter now. She reached into her purse and pulled out a slip of paper. Here's a test. There's a used baby book at Tiny Treasure's thrift shop on Pine Street. Buy it and drop it off at Mrs. Avery's porch, 424 Ocean View Drive, by 6 p.m. today. Don't knock. Don't wait around. Just leave it and go. Ethan took the paper. That's it? That's it. Maya stood up. If you can follow simple instructions without turning it into a performance, we can talk again. I'll be there, he promised. Maya paused. One more thing. Write a note inside the book. An honest one. She left him sitting there, wondering what honest words could possibly make up for what he'd done. At 5:50 that afternoon, Mrs. Avery's porch light flickered on, casting a warm glow over the wooden steps. Ethan approached carrying a paper bag. Inside was the book he'd found at Tiny Treasures, What to Expect. The first year, gently used but clean. He'd spent an hour writing and rewriting his note on the inside cover before settling on something simple. Maya, I was cruel when you needed kindness. I was selfish when you needed support. I am sorry. Truly sorry. Ethan. He placed the bag carefully on the welcome mat, rang the doorbell once and walked away as instructed. No waiting, no checking if anyone came to the door. Back in his car, he exhaled slowly. The first test completed. It felt strange. He was used to grand gestures, to solving problems with money and influence. This quiet delivery felt foreign, almost uncomfortable. But it also felt right. Later that evening, Mrs. Avery texted Maya a photo of the bag on her porch with the caption, "Arrived quietly." Maya retrieved the book, settling into her reading chair to examine it. The book was in good condition, not brand new. He hadn't ignored her instructions and bought a shiny replacement. That was something. She opened the cover and read his note. Her finger traced over the words, "I was cruel." An admission she never thought she'd hear from proud Ethan Vale. Conflicted, she placed the book on her nightstand and picked up her phone. He followed the rules. She texted Nia. The reply came almost immediately. "That's a start. How do you feel?" Maya didn't know how to answer that. After a moment, she simply wrote, "Cautious." She placed a hand on her belly, feeling the baby shift beneath her palm. "One step at a time, little one," she whispered. One step at a time. The next morning was clear and cool, perfect for a walk. Maya sat on a community bench outside the baby thrift shop, waiting. She'd texted Ethan to meet her here, a neutral location with people around. He arrived 5 minutes early, wearing jeans and a simple sweater instead of his usual designer suit. It made him look younger, more like the man she'd fallen in love with years ago, before success had changed him. "Thank you for meeting me," he said. Sitting at the other end of the bench, Maya nodded, then looked straight ahead. "You have a question." "Ask it." Ethan swallowed hard. "Is the baby mine?" She turned to meet his eyes. "Yes." The simple word hit him like a physical blow. He took a shaky breath. "You decided to keep it." "After what I said. After what you demanded," she corrected. "And yes, I did. It's my body, Ethan, my choice." He nodded, devastation clear on his face. "You're right. It was your choice. I had no right to demand anything." Maya studied him, surprised again by his lack of argument. The old Ethan would have debated, would have tried to control the situation. This quiet acceptance was new. "I have a second-hand crib being delivered tomorrow," she said finally. "It needs assembly. You can help with that if you want. Saturday, 11 a.m., Mrs. Avery will be there too." Hope flickered across his face. "I'd like that. No speeches," she warned. "Just show up and help." "That's all." "I understand." Ethan hesitated. "Maya, that's all for today." She cut him off gently but firmly. "Saturday, 11 a.m., my building. Mrs. Avery will let you up." He nodded, accepting her boundary. Saturday. At exactly 11 a.m. on Saturday, Ethan knocked on Maya's apartment door, toolbox in hand. Mrs. Avery opened it, greeting him with a measured smile. "Right on time," she said, stepping aside to let him in. "Maya's in the living room." The apartment was smaller than the home they'd shared during their marriage, but it felt warm and lived in. Plants dotted the windowsills and soft music played from a speaker. Maya sat in an armchair, a mug of tea in her hands, watching as he entered. "The crib is there," she said, nodding toward boxes stacked against the wall. "Instructions should be inside." Ethan set down his toolbox. "Okay if I open these up?" She nodded, and he got to work, laying out parts and reading the instructions carefully. Mrs. Avery settled on the couch near Maya, chatting softly about the importance of safe sleep arrangements. "Firm mattress. No pillows or blankets, nothing in the crib with the baby," she explained. "Hand always on the back to sleep." Ethan listened while he worked, asking only practical questions about the crib assembly. No grand statements, no attempts at deep conversation. Just steady, careful work. Hours passed this way, the room quiet except for the soft music, occasional questions about the crib, and Mrs. Avery's gentle advice. By 1:30 p.m., a solid, safe crib stood in the corner of the living room. "Done," Ethan said, stepping back to let Maya inspect it. She rose carefully, walking around the crib, testing its sturdiness. "Thank you," she said with a single nod. Ethan packed up his tools, leaving the Allen key on the windowsill. "In case you need to tighten anything later," he explained. He left with empty hands, no demands, no lingering. Just as she'd asked. Late that afternoon, dark clouds gathered over the city. Maya, restless after sitting so long, decided to walk to the corner cafe for some soup before the storm hit. She was halfway there when the first heavy drops began to fall. By the time she reached the cafe door, rain was coming down in sheets. Inside, the small space was crowded with others seeking shelter from the sudden downpour. Maya found a table in the corner and ordered vegetable soup and a peppermint tea. The bell above the door jingled, and she looked up to see Ethan shaking rainwater from his hair. He spotted her immediately, hesitating before approaching. "The cafe on 4th was full," he explained. "I was returning the screwdriver I borrowed from the building superintendent." Maya glanced around at the packed tables. "Everywhere's full. You can sit here if you want." Relief crossed his face. "Thank you." He ordered coffee and a sandwich, and they sat in surprisingly comfortable silence as the rain drummed against the windows. Suddenly, Maya gasped, her hand flying to her side. "What's wrong?" Ethan looked alarmed. "Nothing," she assured him. "The baby just kicked really hard." Without thinking, she reached for his hand. "Here, feel." She placed his palm against the spot, watching his face transform as the baby kicked again. His eyes widened, then filled with tears. He quickly blinked away. "That's amazing," he whispered. For a moment, they were just two people connected by the miracle growing inside her. Not ex-spouses, not wounded hearts, just witnesses to something wonderful. The moment passed when the waitress delivered their orders. They ate quietly, the rain softening outside. "I think it's letting up," Maya said eventually, looking out the window. Ethan followed her gaze. "Looks like it." They gathered their things and stepped outside. The rain had indeed slowed to a gentle patter, the air fresh and clean. "Good night, Ethan," Maya said, pulling up her hood. "Good night, Maya." He paused. "Thank you for trusting me for a minute." She didn't answer, but something in her expression softened as she turned to go. Sunday morning found Ethan on the boardwalk steps, watching early joggers pass by. His sister Lena appeared with 2 coffee cups, handing him one before sitting beside him. "So?" she prompted. "So I've seen her 3 times this week," Ethan said. "She's due in about a month. She's letting me help a little. And I'm trying not to mess it up." He sipped his coffee. "I've never been so careful about anything in my life." Lena studied him. "You need to apologize properly. Not just in passing. Write it all out in a letter, with no expectations attached." "You think she'd read it?" "I think she deserves to have it, whether she reads it or not." Ethan nodded slowly. "You're right." That afternoon his phone rang. Maya's name appeared on the screen, sending his heart racing. "Hello?" "Hi." Her voice sounded calm. "I wanted to talk about expectations until the baby comes." "Okay." He grabbed a pen, ready to take notes again. "Check-ins by text only, unless there's an emergency. Practical help is allowed if I ask for it. And no romantic presumptions. This isn't about us getting back together." "I understand," he said, writing it all down. "One more thing, Ethan." Her voice grew serious. "Earn a place quietly before the baby comes, or walk away completely. No halfway. No when it's convenient fatherhood." The challenge was clear. All or nothing. "Commitment or goodbye, I'll try," he promised. "Good," she said, and ended the call. Ethan stared at his notes, the weight of his challenge settling on his shoulders. He had 1 month to prove himself worthy of a second chance, not with grand gestures or money, but with quiet, consistent presence. One day at a time. Monday morning arrived with golden sunshine streaming through Maya's kitchen window. She sipped her peppermint tea slowly, one hand resting on her belly as she checked her phone. No messages from Ethan since their call yesterday. Good. He was respecting her boundaries. The baby kicked and Maya smiled. "Just a few more weeks, little one." A soft knock at her door surprised her. She wasn't expecting anyone this early. Cautiously, she checked through the peephole but saw no one. Opening the door a crack, she looked down to find a small paper bag on her welcome mat. No note, no sender. Maya picked it up and peeked inside. A bottle of unscented baby laundry detergent, nestled in tissue paper. Attached was a yellow sticky note in Ethan's neat handwriting. "If not right brand, I'll take it back. Simple, practical." No grand statement. She smiled despite herself, then nearly jumped when a voice called from the stairwell. "So he's back, huh?" Nia Carter stood there, arms crossed, eyebrows raised. Her bright yellow dress matched her bold personality, and her braids were pulled up in a stylish bun. "He's trying," Maya said. inviting her best friend inside with a gesture. Small steps. Nia followed her into the apartment, eyeing the detergent skeptically. You're really giving him another chance? After what he said? Maya set the bag on the counter. I'm giving him a chance to be in the baby's life. That's all. Nia didn't look convinced. I saw him leaving just now. I've got some words for Mr. CEO. Nia, don't... But her friend was already heading for the door. I'll be right back. Just want to make sure we understand each other. Maya sighed, knowing better than to try stopping Nia when she had that look in her eyes. Her friend had been there through everything. The painful divorce. The shock of discovering her pregnancy afterward. The cruel text from Ethan demanding she don't have it. Nia had every reason to be protective. Outside the building, Ethan was just getting into his car when Nia approached, her steps quick and purposeful. Mr. Vale, a word? Ethan straightened, recognizing Maya's best friend. Ms. Carter, good morning. Let's cut to it. Nia's voice was firm but not hostile. What are you doing here, really? Trying to make things right, he answered. And how long will that last? Until the novelty wears off? Until your company needs you more than your child does? Ethan didn't flinch. I deserve that. But I'm here now and I'm staying. Nia crossed her arms. You know what you said to her? Don't have it. Those exact words. Do you have any idea how much that hurt her? I do, he said quietly, making no excuses. It was the worst thing I've ever said to anyone. I was wrong. Nia studied him, clearly surprised he didn't argue. After a moment she nodded once. Actions, not words, Vale. She's been through enough. I understand. Nia turned to leave, then paused. The detergent was a good choice, practical, keep that up. She headed back into the building, leaving Ethan standing beside his car, a small wave of relief washing over him. He hadn't expected any approval, however slight, from Maya's fiercest defender. When Nia returned to the apartment, Maya was folding freshly washed baby clothes. Well? Maya asked. He admitted saying it. No excuses. Nia sat on the couch, her expression softening. He seems different. Noted, Maya murmured, smoothing a tiny onesie with gentle fingers. Nia's phone chimed. That's my reminder. Don't you have that prenatal class on Thursday? Who's going with you? You are, Maya said. Remember? About that, Nia looked genuinely apologetic. My boss just scheduled that client meeting I told you about. I can't get out of it. Maya's face fell. Oh, I'll just go alone then. Ask your mom? She's visiting my aunt in Florida this week. Maya carefully placed the folded clothes in a drawer. It's fine. I don't need a partner for every class. Nia watched her friend's face, then said carefully, You could ask Ethan. Maya looked up, surprised. I thought you didn't trust him. I don't, not fully. Nia shrugged. But if he's trying to earn his place, this would be a good test. Maya considered it, her hand moving absently to her belly. Maybe I'll think about it. Thursday evening arrived cool and clear. Maya stood outside the community center, where the prenatal classes were held, nerves fluttering in her stomach. After much thought, she had texted Ethan about the class. His reply had been immediate. I'd be honored. What time? Now she watched him walk up the path, right on time, carrying 2 bottles of water. Thought you might be thirsty, he said, handing her one. The instructor mentioned staying hydrated is important. Maya took the water. You looked up the class? I wanted to be prepared. He seemed nervous, shifting his weight from foot to foot. Thank you for asking me to come. Inside, the classroom was set up with yoga mats and exercise balls. 5 other couples were already there, chatting quietly. The instructor, a cheerful woman named Diane, welcomed them warmly. Partners, please sit behind your pregnant moms, she instructed. Today we're practicing breathing techniques and labor positions. Ethan sat behind Maya on the mat, careful to maintain a respectful distance. As Diane demonstrated the breathing patterns, he mirrored Maya's rhythm perfectly. His hands hovering near but not touching her shoulders. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 7, out for 8, Diane guided. Partners, help count the timing. 4, Ethan whispered, his voice steady. 7, 8. You're doing great. For an hour they worked through various positions and breathing exercises. Maya found herself relaxing into the routine, surprised at how easily they fell into sync. When Diane asked partners to apply gentle counter-pressure to lower backs during a squat, Ethan's touch was firm but gentle, exactly where it needed to be. Wonderful rhythm. You too, Diane praised as she walked past. Maya felt her shoulders loosen, the tension she'd been carrying beginning to ease. After class, they walked to the parking lot together, the evening air cool against their skin. "Thank you," Maya said, "for being respectful and helpful." Ethan nodded. "Thank you for giving me the chance." They reached her car and Maya turned to face him. "You can attend the next class if you still want to." Hope brightened his eyes. "I do. Tuesday at 7, she said, getting into her car. "Same place." "I'll be there," he promised, watching as she drove away, a small smile playing on his lips. Friday afternoon found Ethan in his office at Vale Tech headquarters, reviewing quarterly reports. His assistant, Jessica, knocked before entering. "Mr. Vale, I finalized your itinerary for next week's Tokyo trip. The investors are confirmed for the dinner on Wednesday, and your presentation is scheduled for Thursday morning." Ethan looked up from his computer. "The Tokyo trip. That's next week already?" "Yes, sir. You leave Monday evening." Jessica handed him a folder. "All the details are here. It's the Chang Marshall deal you've been working on for months. The Chang Marshall deal, the partnership that could expand Vale Tech into Asian markets. The make-or-break investor meeting he'd been preparing for since last year. The meeting that would take place during Maya's due window." Ethan stared at the folder, then at the small calendar on his desk where he'd circled Maya's due date in red. "Cancel it," he said quietly. Jessica blinked. "I'm sorry?" "Cancel the trip, all of it. Reschedule for next month. But sir, Mr. Chang specifically arranged his schedule to—" "I know." Ethan's voice was firm. "Tell them I've had a family emergency." "Because I have." Jessica nodded slowly. "I'll take care of it. What should I tell the team here?" "That I'm working remotely for the next few weeks. I'll be available by phone and video conference, but I won't be in the office." "Understood." Jessica headed for the door, then paused. "Is everything all right, Mr. Vale?" Ethan smiled. "Everything is exactly as it should be." After she left, he pulled out his phone and sent Maya a simple text. "I'm staying in town through your due window." Her reply came a few minutes later. "Thank you for telling me. See you Tuesday at class." He put down the phone, a sense of certainty washing over him. For the first time in years, he knew without a doubt he was making the right choice. Saturday evening, thunder rumbled in the distance as Ethan sat at his kitchen table, a blank card before him. Lightning flashed outside the window, illuminating the stack of crumpled papers beside him. Failed attempts at the letter Lena had suggested. How could he possibly put into words the regret he felt? How could he explain the person he'd been then? So focused on his company's growth, so afraid of anything that might slow him down, so selfish. He picked up his pen again and began to write, forcing himself to be specific and honest. "Maya, when you told me you might be pregnant, I said, 'Don't have it.' Those were my exact words. They were cruel, selfish, and controlling. I was wrong to say them, and wrong to think them. I was afraid of losing control of my carefully planned life. I put my comfort above your feelings, and above the life we created together. There is no excuse for this. I cannot promise to be perfect going forward. But I can promise this. I will never again try to control your choices. I will never again put my convenience above your well-being or our child's. This letter asks nothing of you. It simply offers my deepest, most sincere apology for the hurt I caused." Ethan, he read it over 3 times, making sure it contained no hidden requests, no subtle manipulations. Just honesty. He folded it carefully into an envelope, writing Maya's name on the front. The storm outside began to ease, rain softening to a gentle patter against the windows. Like the storm inside him, it had broken and passed, leaving clarity in its wake. Tuesday night's class went even better than the first. Maya and Ethan moved together with growing ease, their breathing synchronized, their movements comfortable. Afterward, instead of heading straight home, Maya suggested they stop at the Boardwalk Cafe's rooftop. "They have good mint tea," she explained. "And the view is nice after it rains." The city glowed beneath them, streets still damp from an earlier drizzle. Fairy lights twinkled along the rooftop's edge, and soft music played from hidden speakers. They sat at a small table near the railing, cups of steaming tea before them. "How are you feeling?" Ethan asked. "Getting close now. Tired, excited, scared." Maya smiled, her hand resting on her belly. "All of it at once. That's understandable." "Here," she said suddenly, reaching for his hand. "Feel this." She guided his palm to the side of her belly, just as the baby delivered a solid kick. Ethan's eyes widened, and Maya laughed softly at his expression. "That's our child saying hello," she said. "Our child." The words hung in the air between them. Ethan's gaze moved from her belly to her face, his eyes soft in the dim light. Maya found herself leaning toward him slightly, drawn by something she thought she'd buried long ago. He moved closer too, their faces just inches apart. Then Maya pulled back. "Not yet," she whispered. "Okay," he answered, his smile gentle and understanding. They finished their tea in comfortable silence, the moment neither rejected nor rushed. When it was time to leave, Ethan walked her to the waiting rideshare car, keeping a respectful distance. "Good night." "Maya." "Good night, Ethan." As her car pulled away, Ethan headed toward Mrs. Avery's house, letter in hand, ready to complete another quiet promise. Later that night, Maya sat in her living room, the envelope Ethan had left on Mrs. Avery's porch open in her hands. She read his words slowly, taking in each sentence. "Don't have it." Those were my exact words. He had admitted it plainly, owned the cruelty of it. No sugarcoating, no excuses. She was about to read it again when her phone rang. Nia's face appeared on the screen. "Hey, what's up?" Maya answered. "Maya." Nia's voice sounded strange. "I was clearing out my old phone backups and I found something. I didn't even remember saving it. What is it?" "A screenshot of that text Ethan sent you. The one where he—" Nia trailed off. "Where he told me not to have the baby," Maya finished, a cold feeling spreading through her chest. "Yeah. I must have taken it when you showed me back then. I'm sorry, I wanted evidence, I guess, in case you needed it. Can you send it to me?" Maya asked, her throat tight. "Are you sure? Things seem to be going okay with him now. Please, Nia." A moment later, her phone pinged. The screenshot appeared, a text conversation from 8 months ago. There it was in black and white. "I can't do this right now. My company is at a critical stage. Don't have it. We can talk about family after the merger next year." Maya stared at the cold, clinical words that had shattered her heart when she'd been most vulnerable. Words she'd forced herself to forget as she rebuilt her life without him. She placed the screenshot beside Ethan's handwritten letter. Same words, different contexts. The man who'd sent that text and the man who wrote this letter, were they really the same person? Her phone lit up with Ethan's usual goodnight text. "Hope you're resting well." "Thank you for a nice evening." Maya turned off her lamp without replying, darkness settling around her like a blanket. The baby kicked gently as if sensing her turmoil. "What do we do now, little one?" she whispered into the quiet room. Wednesday morning dawned grey and misty. Maya hadn't slept well, the screenshot and letter both haunting her dreams. She needed fresh air. Pulling on a light jacket, she headed downstairs to the small courtyard of her building. As she pushed through the door, she spotted a figure by the curb, Ethan setting down a small gift bag. He looked up, surprise crossing his face when he saw her. "Maya, good morning." "I was just leaving this." She walked toward him slowly, her phone in hand. "What is it?" "Baby socks. I noticed you had white ones when I helped with the laundry, but not colored ones." His smile faded as he registered her expression. "What's wrong?" Without speaking, Maya held out her phone, the screenshot displayed on the screen. "This is what I read then." Ethan took the phone, his face falling as he recognized his own words. He handed it back gently. "I remember sending it," he said quietly. "I've regretted it every day since. Did you mean it? When you sent it?" He could have lied, could have claimed it was sent in panic or confusion. Instead, he nodded. "At the time, yes, I meant it. I was selfish and blind and wrong." Maya took a slow breath. "I need space, Ethan, a week. No visits, no texts unless it's an emergency. I understand." His voice was steady, though his eyes showed pain. "I need to think about whether I can truly trust the person you are now. Knowing how easily the person you were then could dismiss something so important." Ethan nodded again. "Take all the time you need." He set the bag of socks on the step. "These are yours either way." Then he walked away without looking back, respecting her request for space, just as he'd respected all her other boundaries. Maya watched him go, the weight of the past and the uncertainty of the future pressing heavily on her heart. The week crawled by, each day a struggle, as Maya sorted through her complicated feelings. She missed the small gestures Ethan had been making, the thoughtful texts, the quiet help. But the screenshot remained a harsh reminder of the pain he'd caused. 5 days into their break, on Monday afternoon, Maya was folding laundry when a sharp twinge made her gasp. She straightened, hand pressed to her side. Another pain followed, stronger this time. "Too early," she whispered, fear rising in her throat. She called Mrs. Avery, who arrived within minutes. "Let's time them," the older woman said calmly, leading Maya to the couch. "No need to panic yet." For an hour they tracked the contractions. Gradually they slowed, then stopped entirely. "False alarm," Mrs. Avery said with a reassuring smile. "Braxton Hicks contractions. Your body's just practicing." Relief flooded through Maya, followed immediately by a wave of vulnerability that brought tears to her eyes. "I'm scared to do this alone," she whispered. Mrs. Avery squeezed her hand. "You're not alone, dear. You have me, you have Nia, and you have Ethan if you want him." Later that night, after Mrs. Avery had gone home, Maya sat in bed with Ethan's letter in one hand and the screenshot in the other. The same words in both, "Don't have it," but the context was everything. In one, a demand. In the other, a confession. People could change. She had changed, from the woman who had tried to build her life around Ethan's success to someone who stood firmly on her own feet. Could he have changed too? From the man who saw their child as an inconvenience to someone who cancelled important business trips to be present. She picked up her phone and drafted a text. "If I need you, I'll say so." Her finger hovered over the send button, not quite ready to press it. Setting the phone aside, Maya turned off her light and placed a protective hand over her belly. "Soon," she whispered to her baby. "Soon we'll know if he's really changed." Early Tuesday morning, Ethan sat at his dining table, a cup of coffee cooling before him, as he reread his copy of the letter he'd given Maya. The words still felt inadequate, but they were honest, the most honest he'd ever been. He reached for a notebook and began to write something new, an addendum to his apology that he didn't intend to send. "If Maya wants zero contact after the birth, I won't contest it. I will respect her wishes and support her and our child discreetly through Mrs. Avery. My presence is a privilege, not a right. I will earn it every day or accept its absence with grace." Writing the words brought an unexpected sense of peace. This wasn't about being chosen anymore. It was about being ready, ready to be the father his child deserved, whether Maya allowed him back into her life or not. He closed the notebook and placed it in a drawer, then turned off his phone alerts except for Maya's number. Whatever happened next, he would be prepared. 2 nights later, just after midnight, Maya woke with a gasp. The pain was different this time, deeper, more purposeful. She lay still, counting breaths until another wave came. 7 minutes after the first. This wasn't practice. This was real. Fear and excitement battled within her as she reached for her phone. Mrs. Avery first, then Nia. But her fingers hesitated, then moved to Ethan's contact. She typed just 2 words. "I'm scared." Less than a minute later, her phone rang. "Maya?" Ethan's voice was alert, no trace of sleep. "Are you okay?" "I think it's time," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Real contractions. I'm on my way." "What do you need me to bring?" "Just you," she answered, "and maybe water. And my phone charger from the living room table. I'll be there in 15 minutes, he promised. "Have you called Mrs. Avery?" "Not yet. I'll call her." "You just breathe, okay? Remember the pattern from class." Maya nodded, then realized he couldn't see her. "Okay." True to his word, Ethan arrived at the building lobby exactly 15 minutes later. Maya buzzed him up. And he appeared at her door with a small bag containing water bottles, phone chargers, and a package of her favorite crackers. "Mrs. Avery is on her way," he said, his voice calm though his eyes betrayed his own nervousness. "How far apart are the contractions?" "About 6 minutes now," he nodded. "What can I do?" "Just be here," Maya said, "and help me time them." When Mrs. Avery arrived a few minutes later, she found them sitting together on the couch, Maya breathing deeply through a contraction, while Ethan quietly counted seconds on his phone. "Well now," the older woman said with a smile, "let's see where we are, shall we?" The elevator doors closed on the 3 of them as they headed up to Maya's apartment. The baby was coming, ready or not, and despite everything, Maya felt a sense of rightness that Ethan was there, breathing beside her, ready to welcome their child into the world. Maya's bedroom was bathed in soft lamplight. The curtains were drawn against the midnight darkness, creating a small, intimate world. She sat on the edge of her bed, breathing deeply as another contraction built, then eased. "That's it," Mrs. Avery said gently. "Nice and steady." Ethan stood nearby, quiet and watchful. He had changed so much from the man who had once demanded control of every situation. Now he simply waited, ready to help when asked. "The contractions are about 5 minutes apart now," he said, checking his phone timer. Mrs. Avery nodded. "That's good progress. Maya, do you want to walk a bit?" "Movement can help." Maya stood carefully. "Yes, I can't just sit here." They began a slow circuit of the apartment, from bedroom to living room, through the small kitchen and back again. Ethan walked a few steps behind, giving her space but staying close enough to help if needed. When a strong contraction hit, Maya stopped, leaning against the wall. Ethan stepped forward, then hesitated. "It's okay," she said between breaths. "You can help." He moved beside her, offering his arm for support. She gripped it tightly, focusing on her breathing as the pain peaked, then gradually faded. "You're doing great," he said softly. She looked up at him, seeing genuine awe in his eyes. "This is really happening." "Yes," he answered, his voice steady despite the emotion in his face. "Our baby is coming." Mrs. Avery watched them with a small smile. "Let's time a few more before deciding our next steps." They continued their slow walk, pausing every few minutes for contractions. Ethan timed each one carefully, while Mrs. Avery made quiet notes. Between the waves, they talked softly about practical things, where the baby's things were stored, what Maya had packed for the hospital. An hour passed this way, the contractions growing steadily closer together. Maya found herself leaning more heavily on Ethan with each one. 4 minutes now, he reported after a particularly strong wave. A knock at the door interrupted them. Mrs. Avery went to answer it, returning with Nia, whose face showed both worry and excitement. "I came as soon as I got your message," she said, rushing to hug Maya carefully. "How are you holding up?" "Okay so far," Maya managed to smile, "just taking it one contraction at a time." Nia glanced at Ethan, surprise flickering across her face at his presence. He nodded to her respectfully before stepping back, giving the friends space. "He's been timing the contractions," Maya explained. "And walking with me." "Good," Nia said simply, and the acceptance in that one word meant more than 1,000 could have. Mrs. Avery checked her watch. "Maya, dear, I think it's time to consider moving to the birth center as you planned. The contractions are getting quite regular." Maya nodded, then winced as another one began. This time she reached for both Ethan and Nia, one on each side. "Breathe with me," she whispered to Ethan. Without hesitation, he matched her rhythm. In for 4, hold for 7, out for 8, just as they had practiced in class. Nia watched, impressed despite herself, as Maya visibly relaxed into the pattern. When the contraction eased, Maya straightened. "Okay, let's get ready to go." The next 20 minutes were a blur of quiet activity. Nia gathered the hospital bag Maya had packed weeks ago. Mrs. Avery called ahead to the birth center. Ethan moved methodically through the apartment, turning off lights and making sure everything was secure. "Your chargers?" he asked. "In the side pocket of the bag," Maya answered. "Extra socks? The ones you said your feet get cold. Already packed." He nodded, satisfied. "Ready when you are." Another contraction hit, stronger than the ones before. Maya closed her eyes, gripping the back of a chair until her knuckles turned white. "Breathe," Ethan reminded her softly. "Again, hold out, it's when it passed." She opened her eyes to find all 3 of them watching her with concern. "Definitely time to go," she said with a weak smile. Outside, the night was cool and clear, stars visible despite the city lights. Ethan had called for a rideshare with a driver experienced in taking women in labor to the birth center. The car arrived just as another contraction began. "Perfect timing," Mrs. Avery said wryly. Ethan helped Maya into the back seat, sliding in beside her while Mrs. Avery took the front. Nia followed in her own car, promising to meet them there. The ride was mercifully short. Maya focused on her breathing, Ethan's steady voice counting the rhythm beside her. When they pulled up at the birth center, a midwife was waiting with a wheelchair. "Maya Brooks?" she asked with a warm smile. "I'm Serena. Let's get you inside and comfortable." The birth center wasn't like a hospital. It felt more like a home, with soft lighting and comfortable furniture. Maya had chosen it carefully, wanting a warm, peaceful place to welcome her baby. The next few hours passed in a haze of increasing intensity. Maya moved between walking, resting on the bed and soaking in the large tub that helped ease the pain. Ethan stayed close, his presence calm and steady. During one particularly difficult contraction, Maya gripped his hand so tightly he winced, though he didn't pull away. "You're doing amazing," he told her. "So strong." "It hurts," she admitted, her face damp with sweat. "I know. I wish I could take it for you." She almost laughed through the pain. "No, you don't." "You're right," he agreed with a small smile. "That I'd share it if I could." Mrs. Avery checked in regularly with the midwife, while Nia kept cold cloths coming for Maya's forehead. Together they formed a quiet circle of support around her. As dawn approached, the contractions intensified. Maya's world narrowed to just the rhythm of pain and release, breath and focus. Ethan never left her side, matching her breathing, offering water, whispering encouragement. "You're almost there," Serena the midwife said after checking Maya's progress. "The baby's getting ready to meet you." Maya nodded tiredly. "I'm ready too." She looked at Ethan, who stood nearby, his face showing a mix of awe and concern. "Stay?" she asked simply. "As long as you want me to," he promised. The final stage of labor came in a rush. Maya had prepared for this moment for months, but nothing could have truly readied her for the overwhelming power of bringing a child into the world. "Breathe with me," she gasped to Ethan during a moment of clarity. Without hesitation, he stepped beside her, his breathing steady and strong when hers faltered. "In, out. You've got this," he murmured. "One more big push," Serena encouraged. "Your baby's almost here." Maya gathered her remaining strength, focusing on Ethan's voice, Nia's hand on her shoulder, Mrs. Avery's steady presence. With a final tremendous effort, she felt the baby slide into the world. A cry filled the room, tiny, indignant, perfect. "It's a girl," Serena announced, lifting the baby so Maya could see. A beautiful girl. Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks as the tiny red-faced infant was placed on her chest. "Hello," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. "Hello, little one." Ethan stood frozen, tears streaming unashamed down his face. "She's perfect," he managed, his voice thick. Nia wiped her own eyes. "She really is." Mrs. Avery smiled knowingly, watching as the new little family bonded in those first precious moments. Outside the window, morning light spilled across the city, golden and new. The storm of labor had passed, leaving behind the greatest miracle, a tiny person, entering the world with a cry that seemed to say, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here." Hours later, the small room was quiet. Maya lay propped up in bed, the baby sleeping peacefully in her arms. Nia had gone to get food for everyone, and Mrs. Avery was speaking with the midwife about aftercare instructions. Ethan sat in a chair near the bed, his gaze never leaving the tiny bundle wrapped in a soft pink blanket. "Would you like to hold her?" Maya asked. He looked up, surprise and hope crossing his face. "May I?" "Of course." With careful movements, she transferred the sleeping infant to his arms. He cradled her as if she were made of glass, his large hands gentle beneath her tiny body. "Support her head," Maya guided. "Yes, like that." The baby squirmed slightly, then settled against him with a small sigh. Ethan's face transformed, wonder replacing exhaustion. "Hello," he whispered. "I'm your dad." Maya watched them, her heart full in a way she hadn't expected. This wasn't forgiveness exactly. What had happened between them was too significant for simple forgiveness, but it was something new. "A beginning. She needs a name," she said softly. "Have you chosen one?" Ethan asked, still gazing at their daughter. "Lily," Maya answered. "It was my grandmother's name." "Lily," he repeated, testing the sound. "It's beautiful." "She needs a middle name, too." Maya hesitated, then added, "I'd like you to choose it." Ethan looked up, clearly moved by the gesture. "Really?" "Yes. Something that means safe, because that's what I want for her more than anything, to feel safe and loved." He thought for a moment, then said quietly, "Haven, it means safe place or refuge." "Lily Haven Brooks," Maya tried the name aloud. "It's perfect." "Brooks?" Ethan asked. "Not Vale." "One step at a time, Ethan," Maya said gently. "We're just beginning this journey." He nodded, understanding in his eyes. "One day at a time." The door opened as Nia returned with a bag of food, the scent of coffee following her into the room. She paused at the sight of Ethan holding the baby, her expression softening. "Well, look at that," she said. "Daddy duty already. We have a name," Maya told her. Lily Haven Brooks. Nia set the food down and came to peek at the baby. "Haven, I like that." "Good choice, Vale." Mrs. Avery joined them, smiling at the peaceful scene. "Shall I take a picture for the family album?" "Please," Maya said. They gathered close, the new little family and their trusted circle. Mrs. Avery snapped the photo, Maya in bed, tired but radiant. Ethan beside her, holding Lily with reverent care. Nia leaning in, her smile bright with joy, a moment of peace captured forever. Early evening brought a soft golden light through the windows. The birth center was quiet, most visitors gone for the day. Maya sat in a comfortable chair, having just finished feeding Lily, who now slept contentedly in a bassinet nearby. Ethan returned from the cafeteria with cups of herbal tea. "The midwife said you might want something warm." "Thank you," Maya accepted the cup gratefully. "Where did Mrs. Avery and Nia go?" "Mrs. Avery went to check on your apartment. Make sure everything's ready for when you go home tomorrow. Nia went to get some rest, but she'll be back in the morning." He sat in the chair across from her. "How are you feeling?" "Tired, sore, happy." Maya sipped her tea. "It doesn't feel quite real yet." "I know what you mean." Ethan's gaze drifted to Lily. 24 hours ago, she was still inside you. Now she's here, a whole person. They sat in comfortable silence, watching their daughter's tiny chest rise and fall with each breath. "Ethan," Maya said finally, "we need to talk about what happens next. About what I need from you this week." He straightened, his expression serious. "Tell me." "I need practical help. Quiet grocery runs when I text you what I need. Laundry pickups and drop-offs. Making sure I always have tea stocked." She paused. "And I need you to make 0 decisions unless I specifically ask you to. This is all new for me, and I need to find my footing as a mother." Ethan nodded, absorbing each request. "I understand. Anything else?" "Yes, when you come over, it's to help, not to hang out. Not yet. We still have a lot to figure out between us." "Of course," he hesitated. "And visits with Lily?" "Daily if you want. But scheduled so I can plan feedings and my rest." Maya's voice softened. "I want her to know you, Ethan, to feel your presence in her life from the beginning." Relief spread across his face. "Thank you. That means everything to me." Maya reached into her bag and pulled out a small key ring with a single key attached. A label on the ring read, "Help only," in her neat handwriting. "This is for emergencies and for when I'm expecting you," she explained, holding it out to him. "Not for dropping by unannounced." Ethan took the key carefully as if it were made of gold. "I understand. Help only." "One day at a time," she reminded him. "One day at a time," he agreed. 2 weeks passed in a blur of diaper changes, midnight feedings, and the particular exhausted joy that comes with bringing a newborn home. Maya's apartment had transformed. Baby clothes drying on racks, bottles being sterilized in the kitchen, the soft sound of Lily's breathing coming through the monitor. True to his word, Ethan had been quietly present. He arrived when texted, bringing groceries or taking away laundry. He held Lily during her fussy evening hours so Maya could shower or eat a hot meal. He restocked the tea cabinet without being asked. Not once did he overstep. Not once did he make a decision that wasn't his to make. On a crisp autumn afternoon, Maya decided it was time for Lily's first outing beyond the apartment building. She texted Ethan, "Boardwalk at 4? Lily's first sunset." His reply came immediately, "I'll be there." At 4 o'clock, Maya strapped Lily into the baby carrier on her chest. The little girl was awake and alert, her dark eyes taking in everything with solemn curiosity. "Ready to see the world, little one?" Maya whispered, kissing the top of Lily's downy head. The boardwalk wasn't crowded on a weekday afternoon. A few joggers passed by, along with elderly couples enjoying the mild weather. Maya walked slowly, pointing out seagulls and boats to Lily, who watched with wide-eyed wonder. Ethan was waiting at their usual bench, a small paper bag beside him. He stood as they approached, his face lighting up at the sight of Lily strapped to Maya's chest. "How was her first big adventure?" he asked, gesturing to the carrier. "So far, so good," Maya smiled. "She likes being outside, I think. Lots to see." They sat together on the bench, watching as the sun began its slow descent toward the horizon. "I brought something," Ethan said, reaching for the bag beside him. Unscented baby wipes, since you mentioned you were running low. And this. He pulled out a board book with bright, simple pictures. The librarian said it's good for newborns. High contrast colors. Maya took the book, touched by the thoughtfulness. Thank you. We'll read it tonight before bed. Lily made a small gurgling sound, and they both laughed. I think she approves, Ethan said. The light turned golden as the sun sank lower, casting long shadows across the boardwalk. Maya adjusted Lily's tiny hat against the cooling breeze. I've been thinking, she said after a comfortable silence, about us. About what happens next. Ethan waited, giving her space to continue. I think we should try micro-dates, very small, simple things, just to see if we can be something more than co-parents. She glanced at him, not rushing, just exploring the possibility. Hope bloomed in his eyes, though he kept his voice measured. I'd like that. And maybe when she's a little older, you could have her at your place sometimes, just for short visits at first. I'd love that, he said softly. I've been reading books about infant development, and I've baby-proofed the entire apartment just in case. Maya smiled at his eagerness. One day at a time? One day at a time, he agreed, a promise in the words. The sun touched the water, spreading gold across its surface. Lily watched the changing light, her tiny face solemn with concentration. She sees everything, doesn't she? Ethan marveled. Just like her father, Maya said, the words coming more easily than she'd expected. As they walked back toward Maya's apartment in the gathering dusk, their steps fell naturally in sync. Not too close, but no longer distant, finding a new rhythm together. Another 2 weeks passed, marked by tiny milestones. Lily's first real smile. Her first full night of sleep, a blessed 5 hours. The first time she grabbed Maya's finger and held on tight. Ethan had become a steady presence in their lives. The help-only key was joined by another on the hook by Maya's door, this one labeled simply home. Not used yet, but there, a possibility for the future. Saturday morning dawned bright and clear. Maya sat at the kitchen table, feeding Lily while Ethan made oatmeal, moving around her kitchen with growing familiarity. Cinnamon, he asked, please, and a little brown sugar. He brought the steaming bowls to the table just as Lily finished eating. Without being asked, he took the baby, settling her against his shoulder to burp, while Maya enjoyed her breakfast. You're getting good at that, she observed. I've been practicing, he said with a smile, patting Lily's back gently. A knock at the door interrupted them. Ethan answered it to find Nia standing there with a box of muffins. Morning, family, she said, stepping inside. She'd taken to calling them that recently, family, and neither had corrected her. Perfect timing, Maya said. We just finished feeding Miss Lily. Nia set the muffins on the counter and immediately reached for the baby. Come to Auntie Nia, sweet girl. Ethan handed Lily over carefully, then returned to his oatmeal. The easy way they now passed the baby between them hadn't gone unnoticed by Maya. The trust was building slowly but surely. Ethan's phone chimed with a video call. It's Lena, he said, showing Maya the screen. Answer it, she encouraged. She'll want to see Lily. He propped the phone against a cup, and Lena's smiling face appeared. Hello, brother dear. Where's my niece? Right here, Nia called, bringing Lily into view. Saying good morning to her Auntie Lena. Lena cooed and made faces at the baby, who stared in fascination at the moving image on the screen. They chatted easily, about Lily's growing personality, about Lena's upcoming visit, about nothing and everything. Laughter filled the small kitchen, warm and genuine. Maya watched it all from her seat at the table, a sense of peace washing over her. This wasn't what she had imagined when she'd spotted Ethan in the grocery store 2 months ago. It was something unexpected, something still fragile but growing stronger every day. After the call ended and the oatmeal bowls were cleared away, Maya found Ethan in the living room, reading softly to Lily, who lay on a blanket, her eyes fixed on the colorful pages. And the little bear found his way home, he finished, closing the book gently. Maya sat beside them on the couch. That was her grandmother's favorite story when she was little, really. Ethan smiled. I didn't know that. There's a lot we still don't know about each other, Maya said thoughtfully. The people we've become. I'd like to learn, Ethan said, his voice quiet but certain. Maya reached for his hand, twining her fingers with his for the first time since their reunion. So would I. Lily made a small contented sound between them, as if giving her approval to this new beginning. On the shelf above them, in a simple frame, sat Ethan's letter, the promise he had kept, the words that had opened the door to possibility. Beside it, a photo from the birth center, tired, happy faces welcoming Lily into the world. The past wasn't forgotten. The hurt hadn't magically disappeared. But here, in this sunny living room with their daughter between them, they had found something worth building on. One day at a time. Maya leaned her head against Ethan's shoulder, feeling him relax beside her. Lily's eyes drifted closed, her tiny chest rising and falling in peaceful sleep. Outside, leaves danced in the autumn breeze, gold and red against a clear blue sky. Inside, a family, new, fragile, hopeful, rested together, finding their way home. 3 months had passed since Lily's birth, each day bringing small changes that amazed Maya and Ethan. Their daughter could now hold her head up, follow their movements with curious eyes and laugh, a sound that never failed to melt their hearts. On a crisp winter morning, Maya stood by the nursery window, Lily cradled against her shoulder. Snow drifted lazily past the glass, the first of the season. The baby watched the white flakes with wide-eyed wonder. "Look at the snow, sweet girl," Maya whispered. "Isn't it beautiful?" A knock at the front door pulled her attention away. Glancing at the clock, she smiled. Ethan was right on time for his Saturday visit. Their routine had evolved naturally over the past months. Ethan came by 3 times a week after work and spent Saturday mornings with them. They discovered a comfortable rhythm of co-parenting, the awkwardness between them softening into something warmer. Maya opened the door to find him stamping snow from his boots, his cheeks flushed from the cold. "It's really coming down," he said, unwinding his scarf. The weatherman wasn't kidding about this storm. Lily's been watching it from the nursery window. She's fascinated. Maya passed the baby to him, smiling as Ethan's face lit up. "Good morning, Lily Bear," he cooed, using the nickname that had stuck after reading her that little bear book weeks ago. "Did you see the snow? Your first snowfall?" Lily responded with a happy gurgle, her tiny hand reaching for his face. "Coffee," Maya offered, heading to the kitchen. "Please." Ethan followed, bouncing Lily gently in his arms. "I brought bagels. They're in my bag." They settled at the kitchen table, the familiar Saturday morning pattern unfolding around them. Maya sipped her coffee, watching Ethan make silly faces at Lily. "She looks more like you every day," he said, studying their daughter's features. "She has your eyes, but your smile," Maya pointed out. "And definitely your stubbornness," Ethan laughed. Poor kid. Double dose of stubborn. The easy conversation continued as they ate, talking about Lily's development, about work, about nothing in particular. These moments had become precious to both of them, simple. Ordinary time together that slowly rebuilt what had been broken between them. Afterward, Ethan washed the dishes while Maya changed Lily. He had learned not to ask if she needed help with every little thing, another sign of his growth, of understanding that supporting her didn't mean taking over. "I've been thinking," Maya said when she returned with a freshly diapered Lily. "It might be time for her first overnight at your place." Ethan nearly dropped the mug he was drying. "Really?" "Just one night to start. Next weekend, maybe." She smiled at his obvious excitement. "Your apartment is baby-proofed. You've had the portable crib set up for weeks, and she knows you well now." "I'd love that," he said softly. "Are you sure you're ready?" The question showed how far he'd come, thinking of her feelings, not just his wants. "I think so," Maya answered honestly. "It'll be good for both of you. And maybe," she hesitated, "maybe good for me to have a night to myself." Ethan nodded. "You deserve that. You've been amazing with her." "We both have," Maya said, surprising herself with the ease of the compliment. Outside, the snow fell faster, blanketing the world in white. Inside, something new was being built, one careful brick at a time. The following weekend arrived with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Ethan had prepared meticulously for Lily's first overnight stay, checking and rechecking his apartment to ensure everything was perfect. Maya arrived Saturday afternoon, Lily bundled against the winter chill, a diaper bag packed with everything she might need. "I think I've got enough supplies for a month," Maya joked, as Ethan took the heavy bag. "Better too much than too little," he said, leading them inside. His apartment had changed dramatically since the last time Maya had visited nearly a year ago. Gone were the sleek, modern furnishings that had once dominated the space. Instead, soft rugs covered the hardwood floors, Sharp table corners had protective bumpers, and colorful toys were neatly arranged on low shelves. "You've really transformed this place," Maya said, looking around with approval. Lena helped, Ethan admitted. She said it looked too much like a bachelor CEO, and not enough like a dad. In the corner of the living room stood the portable crib, made up with fresh sheets. Beside it, a rocking chair Maya recognized from his childhood home, a thoughtful touch that made her heart warm. "Your mother's chair," she said softly. "Dad had it in storage. I thought," he paused, "I thought Lily might like it. The way Mom used to rock me." The mention of their families brought a moment of reflection. Both sets of parents had been cautiously supportive of their co-parenting arrangement. After the initial shock, and some pointed questions about Ethan's past behavior, they had embraced little Lily with open arms and hearts. Maya placed the sleeping baby in the portable crib, tucking a light blanket around her. "She should sleep for another hour. When she wakes up, she'll need a bottle. I pumped this morning. Got it. Bottle in the fridge, warm it under running water. Test on my wrist." Ethan recited the instructions she'd given him multiple times before. Maya smiled. "You've been paying attention." Every word he said simply. They stood looking down at their daughter, peaceful in sleep, her tiny lips parted, her dark lashes resting against round cheeks. "She looks so much like you," Ethan whispered. "Everyone says that," Maya agreed. "But I see you in her too. The way she concentrates so hard on things." "That's all you." A comfortable silence fell between them, broken only by Lily's soft breathing. "I should go," Maya said finally. "Give you two some time together. What will you do with your free evening?" Ethan asked. "Take a bubble bath. Read an actual book with two hands. Sleep for more than 3 hours at a stretch." She laughed softly. "Wild stuff." He walked her to the door. "Call any time, okay? No matter how small the question seems, I will." She hesitated, then impulsively hugged him. "Thank you for making this so easy." Ethan returned the embrace, his arms gentle around her. "Thank you for trusting me." As Maya walked to her car, she felt a curious mixture of emotions, a tiny thread of anxiety at being separated from Lily, but also a surprising lightness. Trust, she realized, felt a lot like freedom. Lily's first overnight at Ethan's was a success, much to everyone's relief. Maya had called twice, once to say goodnight and once when she woke up at Lily's usual 2 a.m. feeding time out of habit. Ethan had sent photos of bath time, of Lily playing with the new toys he'd bought her, of her sleeping peacefully in the crib. The next morning, Maya arrived to find them both in the kitchen, Ethan making coffee one-handed, while Lily babbled contentedly in his arms. "She only woke up twice," he reported proudly, "and went right back to sleep after her bottle." "Show off," Maya teased, reaching for her daughter. "She makes me work for it at home." They settled into a new pattern after that. Every other weekend, Lily would stay overnight at Ethan's. The arrangement gave Maya much-needed rest and deepened the bond between father and daughter. It also gave Maya and Ethan space to rediscover each other. Without the immediate demands of childcare, they began to talk more openly during drop-offs and pickups. Small conversations grew longer, more meaningful. Shared glances lingered. One evening in late January, after bringing Lily back from a visit, Ethan paused at Maya's door. "I've been thinking," he said hesitantly. "Would you like to go to dinner sometime?" "Just us." Maya looked at him with surprise. Though they'd grown closer as co-parents, neither had suggested anything resembling a date. "You mean like a date?" she asked. "Exactly like a date," he confirmed. "Nothing fancy or complicated. Just dinner, conversation that doesn't revolve around diaper brands." Maya smiled. "I'd like that. Next Friday?" "My mum's been asking to watch Lily." "Friday sounds perfect." They stood in the doorway. A new kind of tension between them. Not the hurt and wariness of months past, but something lighter tinged with possibility. "Good night." "Maya," Ethan said softly. "Good night, Ethan." As she closed the door, Maya felt a flutter in her stomach that had nothing to do with motherhood and everything to do with the man who was slowly finding his way back into her heart. Friday night arrived clear and cold, stars sharp against the dark winter sky. Maya stood before her closet, considering her options. It had been so long since she'd dressed for anything but practicality, soft clothes that could withstand baby spit-up and hasty washing. She settled on a simple blue dress that brought out her eyes. With comfortable heels, she could actually walk in. Her mother watched from the doorway, Lily content in her arms. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," she said. "Thanks, Mom." Maya applied a touch of lipstick, something she hadn't bothered with in months. "It feels strange going on a date with Ethan after everything. Life takes unexpected turns." Her mother bounced Lily gently. "Sometimes those turns lead us right back where we needed to be all along, just by a different road." When Ethan arrived to pick her up, his eyes widened appreciatively. "You look amazing," he said. "So do you." And he did, in dark jeans and a grey sweater that fit his shoulders perfectly. He looked more like the Ethan she'd first fallen for years ago, before the suits and the boardrooms had begun to change him. He drove them to a small Italian restaurant by the water, cozy and warm with candles on the tables and the smell of fresh bread in the air. Not the rooftop bar at the Grand Hotel, Maya teased as they were seated at a corner table. During their marriage, he had always chosen the most expensive, impressive venues for their dates. Ethan smiled. "I thought we'd try something a little more real." The evening unfolded easily. They talked about Lily, of course, but also about other things, books they'd read, changes in the neighborhood, dreams they still held. "Vale Tech is doing well," Ethan said when she asked about work. "The Chang Marshall deal finally went through last month, but I've cut back my hours, delegated more." "That doesn't sound like the workaholic I knew," Maya observed. "Priorities change." He looked at her directly. "People change." Over dessert, a tiramisu they shared between them, Maya found herself studying his face. The proud, sometimes arrogant man she'd divorced was still there in the strong lines of his jaw, the confident set of his shoulders. But there was softness, too, a humility that had been hard-won. "What are you thinking?" he asked, catching her gaze. "That you're not the same person you were a year ago." "Neither are you," she nodded, acknowledging the truth of it. "Parenthood changes you. It's more than that." Ethan reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. "You know who you are now. What you want. What you won't accept. And you? I know what matters." His voice was quiet, certain. "And it isn't closing deals or impressing investors." When he drove her home, the car was filled with a comfortable silence. At her door, he hesitated. "I'd like to do this again," he said. Maya smiled. "So would I." She rose on tiptoe and kissed his cheek, a small gesture that bridged the careful distance they'd maintained for months. "Good night, Ethan." "Good night, Maya." Inside, she found her mother dozing on the couch, Lily asleep in the portable crib nearby. The peaceful scene filled her heart, her daughter safe, her mother supportive, and the promise of something new blooming with Ethan. Not a return to what was, but a beginning of what could be. Spring arrived with soft rains and tender green buds on the trees. Lily, now 6 months old, could sit up on her own and was beginning to babble strings of sounds that almost resembled words. "She said Dada yesterday," Maya told Ethan during one of their now regular Friday night dates. "At least I think that's what it was." His face lit up. "Really?" "Don't get too excited," she laughed. She also said Baba to her stuffed bear. They were walking along the boardwalk, the evening mild enough for light jackets. The water reflected the setting sun in ripples of gold and pink. "Still," Ethan said proudly, "she's clearly a genius." "Clearly," Maya agreed with a smile. They stopped at the bench where they had sat together months ago, when their journey back to each other had just begun. So much had changed since that uncertain day. "Can you believe it's been almost a year since I saw you in the grocery store?" Maya asked, settling on the bench. "Sometimes it feels like yesterday," Ethan said, sitting beside her. "Other times it feels like a lifetime ago. So much has happened. Good things," he added. "Hard things, but good." Maya nodded, watching the last rays of sun slip beneath the horizon. "I've been thinking about Lily's name," she said after a moment. "What about it?" "Brooks is my name. And it's a good name." She turned to look at him. "But Vale is her father's name. Maybe she should have that connection too." Ethan's breath caught. "Are you saying Lily Haven Brooks Vale?" Maya said softly. "If you'd like that, I would," he whispered, emotion thick in his voice. "Very much." They sat in silence, watching darkness settle over the water. Ethan's hand found Maya's, their fingers intertwining with practiced ease. These small touches had become more frequent over the past months. A hand on a shoulder. Fingers brushed while passing Lily between them. A hug that lingered just a heartbeat longer than necessary. "There's something else," Maya said, her voice quiet in the gathering dusk. My lease is up next month. Oh? Ethan kept his tone neutral, though his hand tightened slightly around hers. I've been looking at places. Somewhere with a yard, maybe. Room for Lily to play when she starts walking. That sounds nice, Maya took a deep breath. I thought maybe you might help me look, since you'll be spending time there too, with Lily and maybe with me. Ethan turned to face her, his eyes searching hers in the fading light. Maya, are you saying... I'm saying one step at a time, she interrupted gently. I'm saying I see a future where we're more than just co-parents, where we try again with everything we've learned. I'd like that, he said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. I'd like that very much. Maya leaned toward him slowly, giving him time to understand her intention. When their lips met, it was gentle. A question and answer, a promise all at once. His hand came up to cup her face, tender as a whisper. When they broke apart, Maya rested her forehead against his. One day at a time, she reminded him. One day at a time, he agreed, his smile reflected in his voice. They walked home hand in hand through the spring evening, talking quietly about houses with yards, about Lily's first words, about tomorrow and all the tomorrows after. Summer arrived in a blaze of heat and color. Lily celebrated her first birthday with a small party in the backyard of the house Maya and Ethan had chosen. Together, a cozy Cape Cod with blue shutters and a maple tree perfect for a future swing. Maya watched from the patio as Ethan helped Lily blow out her single candle, his hands supporting her as she stood on wobbly legs. Their daughter's laughter rang out, clear and joyful in the warm afternoon. Mrs. Avery sat nearby, her silver hair gleaming in the sunshine. It does my heart good to see this, she said to Maya. All of you, together. We're figuring it out, Maya replied, smiling as Lily smeared cake on Ethan's cheek. The journey hadn't been without bumps. There were still moments when old hurts surfaced, when fears whispered in the quiet hours. But they had learned to talk through these moments, to face them together rather than turning away. Maya lived in the new house with Ethan keeping his apartment. He stayed over 2 or 3 nights a week, always in the guest room. They were building their relationship with the same careful patience they'd shown in rebuilding their trust. Nia appeared with a tray of lemonade, setting it on the patio table. Your man is covered in frosting, she observed with amusement. He doesn't mind, Maya laughed. He'd let her cover him in mud if it made her happy. You made the right choice, Nia said quietly. Giving him another chance. We both did, Maya corrected. He's worked for every bit of trust he's earned. Across the lawn, Ethan looked up and caught Maya's eye, his smile warm even from a distance. He lifted Lily in his arms and brought her over. Birthday girl wants her mum, he said, passing their frosting-covered daughter to Maya. Happy birthday, my sweet girl, Maya whispered. Kissing Lily's sticky cheek, Mrs. Avery raised her glass of lemonade. To Lily and to second chances. Second chances, everyone echoed, glasses clinking in the summer air. Later, after the guests had gone and Lily was asleep in her crib, Maya and Ethan sat on the back porch swing, watching fireflies dance in the gathering dusk. It's been quite a year, Ethan said, his arm resting comfortably around Maya's shoulders. The hardest and the best, she agreed, leaning into him. They had decided just that morning that it was time for Ethan to give up his apartment, to make this house truly their home together, the last piece falling into place after a year of careful rebuilding. You know, Ethan said thoughtfully, that day in the grocery store when you said I'm safe now, that's what matters. I didn't really understand what you meant. And now? Maya looked up at him. Now I do. His fingers traced gentle patterns on her shoulder. Safety isn't just physical. It's knowing someone sees you, respects you, values what you value. Yes, she said softly. That's exactly it. I want to be that safe place for you, Maya, for you and for Lily, every day. She turned to face him fully. You already are. Their kiss was deeper this time, rich with shared history and hope for the future. When they broke apart, Ethan rested his forehead against hers, their breath mingling in the warm night air. I love you, he whispered. I don't think I ever stopped, even when I was too blind to see what really mattered. I love you too, Maya answered, the words feeling right, feeling true. Enough to try again, the right way this time. From inside the house, the soft sound of Lily stirring came through the baby monitor. They both smiled. I'll go, Ethan said, rising from the swing. You relax? Maya watched him go, his steps confident as he headed inside to comfort their daughter. Through the window, she could see him lifting Lily from her crib, his movements gentle as he swayed back and forth, helping her back to sleep. The scene filled her heart to bursting. This man who had learned to replace pride with patient love, this daughter who had brought them back together, this home they were building day by day. Outside, fireflies continued their dance among the summer leaves. Inside, a family, once broken, now healing, found their rhythm together. Not perfect, not without challenges, but grounded in something real and lasting. Love, Maya thought, watching Ethan kiss Lily's forehead, proves itself in quiet, repeated acts of care. In apologies offered without pressure. In a family rebuilt, when courage meets tenderness one day at a time.